Assalamu alaikum, my dear student. This is Miss Aisha Anwar from Biotic Academy. I would like to welcome you all in my new class about the nutrition in plants. In my last video, we discussed about nutrition in plant, how plants prepare their own food by the help of photosynthesis, and why we call plant as autotroph organisms, because they are the only organism who are capable enough to trap sunlight and convert that sunlight energy into a chemical energy in the form of the glucose molecules and store that glucose molecules in their body. Now we discussed about the formation of glucose by the plants through the process of photosynthesis. Now in my today's class we will discuss how this glucose which is being prepared by photosynthesis is used by the plant body. What are the ways by which plant is going to utilize that glucose in their body? Now there are several ways you can see here in my slide that plant prepare glucose and use it in many diversified ways. First of all, we'll begin from here that plant has glucose in their body, and that glucose is being used to make raw material for growth. As we all know that all living organisms are in phase of continuation of growth and repair and replacement and of their damaged parts. Means all the organisms in their early stage of life, they require raw material for growth. Raw material for growth means some material, some enzymes, some chemical compounds are needed by the cell in order to divide its cell and to increase the size of the living organism in the early stage of their life. So the raw material needed to make new cell to show the growth of the plant body. For that mechanism, plant use glucose which it has prepared by photosynthesis. Now, second, here we can see that it prepared glucose molecule by photosynthesis and immediately use that glucose molecule to provide energy in the process of respiration. Means the glucose which plant has prepared for itself by photosynthesis is being immediately broken down by the cell in mitochondria in the process of respiration, and as a result of which plant gets energy to continue its metabolic reaction of the cell. Now the third one, energy used to turn sugars, nitrates and other nutrients into amino acid. Means for the formation of new amino acid, plant has glucose, and that glucose is basically being attached with the nitrate ions which plant absorb through the roots in order to make amino acid. As we all know that protein, the monomers of protein are amino acid, and these amino acids contain carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. So these carbon, hydrogen and oxygen are basically provided by the plant by the process of photosynthesis. Plant get this carbon, hydrogen, oxygen in the form of glucose through the process of photosynthesis, and it absorbs nitrate ions from the soil, and then these elements join together in order to form the basic structure of protein molecules. So it used that glucose for the formation of protein molecules. That protein molecule is being used by the plant to make new cell, to make protoplasm. Now plant use glucose to make structural material in cell wall. Cellulose is basically carbohydrate, and that carbohydrate is being used to make the cell wall of the newly formed cells. As I have discussed earlier, that plant used that glucose in growth, means it makes new cell, and for the formation of new cell, plant must need cell wall for the new cell. That cell wall is being developed by the help of this glucose molecule. Now plant also store glucose in the form of starch. It doesn't mean that plant make glucose and immediately use all of the glucose which it has prepared by photosynthesis. Some of the glucose is being saved in the plant body in different parts of the plant body, like in leaves, seeds, roots and tubers, and plant store glucose in the form of starch. Starch is a complex structure which doesn't get dissolved immediately in water, so plant can convert glucose into the form of starch in order to save it in different parts of its body. Now plant also store energy as sucrose in foods, means the natural sweetness which we feel in the foods are basically the sucrose, and sucrose is basically the form of glucose. Plant convert glucose in the form of sucrose and store it in the foods. Now some of the plants also make fats and oil, which are basically energy stored in the seed. Some of the glucose are basically converted in the form of fats and oil, and these are basically stored in the seeds for the growth of the new seedling. These are basically the reserved material, or we also call them endosperm of the seed. These endosperm of the seed are basically a reserve food for the upcoming embryo or upcoming seedling of the plant. So in this way you can see over here how plant use glucose in many diversified pathway in its body, in its metabolism. Now for the formation of glucose to continue the process of photosynthesis, in my last video we discussed about the importance of chloroplast, the importance of chlorophyll. In connection with this topic of glucose and the process of photosynthesis, we will discuss one more experiment where we will find out the importance of light for photosynthesis. In order to check the importance or investigate the importance of light for the process of photosynthesis, we have taken a leaf which is basically attached with its plant body, and we take a leaf and cover the middle part of this leaf with a light proof foil or any foil, any material which doesn't allow sunlight to pass through them, and we left the leaf for, you can say, 10 hours, 5 hours, 7 hours, whatever time we decide to keep the experiment in. And then after that time, we will remove this foil and we will test the leaf for the presence of starch. I told you how we check the presence of starch by the help of iodine. And after the experiment, after the reaction with iodine, you can see over here how this leaf appeared. The leaf was exposed to the sunlight. The whole of the leaf was exposed to the sunlight except this part which was covered with the foil. That part was unable to get the sunlight. The rest of the part got the opportunity to absorb sunlight and to perform the photosynthesis. And when we perform starch test, we can see over here that this middle part appeared yellow. That shows that no starch. Why no starch? Why starch is not present over here? Because this part, although it contained chlorophyll, although it was having water, carbon dioxide, all other factors which are needed for photosynthesis, but it was not having sunlight, which is basically an important factor for the process of photosynthesis. And the rest of the leaf got this opportunity to get the sunlight, so it performed photosynthesis. And when exposed with the iodine solution, it appears like this blue-black color, which shows the presence of starch in this remaining part of the leaf. Now, in this way, we have discussed how sunlight is important for the process of photosynthesis, how chloroplast is needed for the process of photosynthesis. Now we talk about the adaptation in the leaf. How leaves are adapted to perform the process of photosynthesis. What are the structures which are present in the leaf which makes them more suitable for the process of photosynthesis. Now these are some points which we will discuss over here. The leaves which are adapted to perform photosynthesis and to make maximum glucose are having these features. Features are like these. The leaves are wide and flat, means they are very broad, have broad lamina with the help of which they can absorb maximum sunlight so that they can perform maximum photosynthesis. And this broad lamina basically gives them a large surface area to absorb as much light as possible to make more and more glucose molecule. The second one is that the leaves are thin, so the gases can diffuse in easily. Like the plant absorb carbon dioxide for the process of photosynthesis and they gives off oxygen. So if the leaves will be thick, it will be difficult for the gases to diffuse across. So leaves are thin, which makes them capable enough to perform the process of photosynthesis easily by the exchange of gases with the surrounding. Leaves have a lot of veins. What are veins? These are basically the network of xylem and phloem for to transfer water to the respective part of the leaf for the process of photosynthesis. So they have lots of veins so that maximum amount of water can be supplied to the different parts, different cells and tissues of the leaves so that they can perform the process of photosynthesis easily. And phloems are also present in this vein. I've told you that these veins are basically having xylem and phloem. Xylem, as you know, that xylem job is to transfer water and minerals to the whole part of the plant body, and phloem job is to take away glucose from the leaf to and distribute it to all part of the plant body. So many veins are there. You can see here these veins. So they have many veins which help them to perform their process efficiently. Leaves also have stomata in the form of the holes, and these holes are basically responsible for the gaseous exchange, for transpiration. So these are the important mechanism of the plant by the help of which it can carry on its normal metabolic processes in the body. So it has many stomata in them on the lower side. Mostly the leaves have more stomata on the lower side so that they can exchange the gases easily with the surrounding. Along with the chloroplast, sunlight, adaptation, the leaf plant needs some nutrients also so that these nutrients can help them to perform the process of photosynthesis easily and to show its growth and development. Now the two nutrients which you can see over here is magnesium and nitrate. Why plant needs magnesium ions from the soil? Magnesium is needed to make chlorophyll, as we have already discussed the importance of chlorophyll. So for the formation of chlorophyll, plant needs magnesium ions. If magnesium is lacking in the plant is unable to make enough chlorophyll. As a result, they won't be able to make enough glucose by the process of photosynthesis, and this lack of chlorophyll is being reflected by this wave of yellowing between the veins of the leaf. That condition is called chlorosis. Chlorosis is basically a condition where the veins are showing yellow shades in between that show that plant is lacking chlorophyll, and this lacking of chlorophyll is due to the lack of magnesium ion. The second one is nitrate ion, as we have already discussed that plant need nitrate ions, and along with the product of photosynthesis glucose, it attaches nitrate ion to make protein, and the protein are basically the building block of the plant body. And if the plant is lacking protein, it is unable to show its healthy growth, and it will show a stunted growth. Stunted growth means reduced growth. It will show growth, but it will be of very less rate, and it is not going to show a very good growth. And the yellowing of leaf is also showing that the plant is lacking nitrate ion, and stunted growth is basically shown by this lack of this nitrate ion in the plant body. So I hope you have understood all the concept today about the nutrition in plant and what are the factors which are affecting growth of the plant, what are the nutrients which are needed by the plant, and how plants are adapting themselves to perform maximum photosynthesis. So I hope you are enjoying my lectures and you have subscribed my channel. This is my Miss Aisha Anwar from Biotic Academy. Take care.